What's going on, guys? PXCam20 back in with a brand new video. We have a good one for you guys here as we are doing the Nations Cup race around Bathurst. Yes, you heard that right, Bathurst, in a Super Formula car. Now, when I first heard this, I thought this was one of the wackiest and craziest races that we were going to have of the season, but to my surprise, it actually wasn't that bad. So let me actually show you exactly what happened during some of these races. So on our very first race, I actually forgot that we can use the overtake during qualifying. So you can see me struggling here with the full load of overtake juice, and we were only able to get a 19th, but luckily we were able to finish in 13th position for the race. So now on the second race, we were running pretty well, but we get a little bit of tires in the grass and run straight into the wall. So you can see that we really weren't doing that well on these races, but I was having a lot of fun with it, which is again the main thing as we jump into the points table for our third and final race. 263 points was going to be the most amount of points that we can get if we get first place, which is kind of a small amount, especially for a top split lobby. So we were going to try to shoot for at least a podium. If not, let's see if we can get this win here. But before we jump into it, if you guys really enjoy the content, please subscribe to the channel and leave a like on the video, as it really helps out the channel when you guys do so. Anyways, that is enough promoting myself. Let's jump straight into this race. Now, jumping into qualifying, it was only a 5-minute qualifier, which only gives us enough time to do 2 laps. So I was a little bit worried here, as we have to get a clean track right ahead of us as this guy goes right ahead of us. But as we now come out of the pits, you can see that we are now on our very first flyer lap. Coming out turn number 1, we get stuck right behind Lucky Luciano, and he decided to just block the entire track on our first qualifier lap, and that just killed our lap. So we had to go again, do our second lap, and this was our only chance that we had. So our final chance to get a qualifier in, and on top of the mountain, almost the exact same thing happens here as we get caught up behind Andre Saab after coming out of the pits, and that just costed us about maybe 3 or 4 tenths here as we almost ran to the back of him. But luckily we were able to get the qualifying in for a 141.2. So only good enough for 7th place. This is going to be very, very tricky because it's really difficult to overtake on this racetrack. It's not impossible, but it is difficult. And the fact that it's only 13 laps, we only have so many opportunities to try to make any attempt of passes and try to work our way up to a podium or a win. So jumping into the intro, we were given 2 compounds for this race. We were given the mediums and the hards, but the hards were the compounds that you had to use, so those were the required ones. You did have to keep an eye on fuel, as you can easily run out of fuel here after about 8 or 9 laps, but we were going to try to fuel save a little bit and see if we can shorten our pit stop here once we do refuel, and see if that can give us a little bit more time on the race. So we're gonna see what we could do. We're gonna start off on the medium since we are closer to the front, switch off to the hards around lap number 9, and let's see what we can do on this race. Now, jumping into the race, this is going to be a grid start, so what is best than going 90 degrees into turn number 1 on a grid start? I don't know, I can't think of anything on top of my head, but we get 5 red lights here as we wait for the start. 5 red lights go off, and away we go as we get a decent start. 6th place doesn't get a really good one, but we are able to keep it on the inside. 3 wide going to turn number 1, we back out, but behind we get hit, and we get pushed into the McLaren as the car right ahead of us gets a 1-second penalty. Jumping to the replay, you can see that is us right up ahead, and we just get bumped up from behind. The McLaren just stalls in the middle of the corner. Not sure exactly what happened, but you can see all the penalties already accruing right behind us, as like 3 or 4 cars have penalties after turn number 1, and they are not small penalties too. Those are 2 and 3 second penalties, so that's going to really hurt them, especially because this is the beginning of the race. So going into turn number 2 here, we get overtaken by Dusa, but we have to take evasive action and try to avoid CA as he gets very, very squirrely coming off of turn number 2 as we now advance our way into the mountain for the first time. A little bit of wheel spin there. We decide to go onto the overtake button since we did lose a little bit of momentum coming off of that corner. And as we go into the downhill part for the first time, we almost made contact with Duce, so we had to slam on the brakes, take evasive action, and luckily we didn't get a penalty because I thought it was going to give us a corner cut penalty just because we went onto the grass, but GT Sport was being nice to us, unlike the other guys around us, and we were able to get away without a penalty now. So Going into the penalty zone, you can see that 1 car, 2 car, 3 cars right behind us were all having to serve their penalties, and that was able to give us a gap now away from 5th place as we are promoted into 4th after starting off in 7th. So we got very, very lucky here for the start that we didn't get any penalties, and not only that, we didn't get taken out going into turn number 1 or up the hill. We did get hit from behind, but it didn't affect us too much as we're trying to defend our position from 5th. But going into turn number 1, we just have to relinquish the spot, give CA the position, and we're going to follow right behind him now as we head into the 2nd penalty zone. So down the straight, CA has to serve his penalty. He deserves it right there, but we have 5th place still right behind us with CRM as he's attempting to take a peek onto the inside. Decides twice about it, backs out, and he actually gets into our slipstream. Just backs out very early before going to turn number 2, and we were able to build somewhat of a little bit of a gap from him as we now head off the final corner down the hill, leading us into the chicane. So down the straight here, 2nd place did have to serve a penalty. Not sure exactly how he got that 2-second penalty, but he had to serve it as we almost accidentally pushed CRM off into the grass. Made a very last minute judgment move right there as we had to move to the right hand side to avoid making contact with him, but we were able to hold off our position going to chicane as CRM actually gets punted out from behind by CA, and that really was unfortunate for him, but very fortunate for us as again we build a little gap from us to CA. So on to lap number 5. 1st place of PX7 Grove decides to come in here. So very, very early pit stop. He was starting on the mediums, and he decided to come in and switch off to another set of mediums, and I don't think he put any fuel into his car. So a very interesting strategy here. He's gonna go for the 2-stop. The reason why I don't personally like it is because you get stuck behind some cars, and just the nature of this race and how the penalty is, you can easily get a penalty into some of these corners as CA makes a great overtake on us. On the replay here, you can see just CA was able to outbrake us on the inside going to turn number 2, and now he is promoted into 2nd as we get demoted back into 3rd. But yeah, going back to the 2-stopper, again, just not a big fan of it. I'd rather just be around clean air and just be as much to the front, away from the mid pack, as again you could just easily get caught up in racing with them, lose some time, or worse, accidentally get a penalty by making contact with them. So we're just gonna go for the 1-stop still. As you can see, more cars are still getting penalties even 7 laps into the race. So these penalties are not stopping here as we go into the chicane on lap number 8. We're getting closer and closer for our time to come into the pits. We decided to come in on lap number 9 as we were saving a little bit of fuel. 2nd place comes into the pits. As you can see, he turns into pit road, and right behind us, a couple more drivers decide, you know what, I've had it, I'm gonna switch off from the mediums to the hards. And not only that, I'm gonna put in fuel. As you can see, a couple people only had 11, 14, 16% of fuel left. But on to the next lap. On lap number 9, 1st place decides to come into the pits, but he accidentally makes contact with the wall, causes a little yellow flag, and that's going to help us out here since he made contact with that wall. You can see now we are right behind him, and he actually loses position to CA. So now we are on the hard, so we are the freshest tires on the racetrack right now, as 3rd place decides to start swerving right here so he can get some heat into his tires. We kind of swerved left and right to follow him, but we didn't get enough time to put in some heat in these tires, and we're just going to try to follow along 3rd and 2nd. Since we did overfuel the car, we have to push the car as much as we can so that we can burn off as much fuel as we can, as we are now starting to get pressured from 5th place, and again we just get a little bit of wheel spin from behind. So 5th place was able to make an overtake on us, and we get demoted back, but you can see he does have a 1-second penalty. So my thought process here is just stay right behind him, wait till we hit the penalty zone, and we should be able to easily regain that 4th place position. And then we're just gonna push like hell to try to catch up to the 3rd and 2nd place driver as we come down the hill. Adam gets a little bit loose because of that grass, goes straight into the wall, and on the replay you can see that he was just going in there a little too hard, gets into that grass, just loses all type of momentum, goes straight into that wall, and including with that 1-second penalty that he already had, it's probably not going to be a good lap for him and a good day. So we're going to go down to the straight off of the final corner on the downhill section, and we get an easy 4th place here as we are now going up the hill on lap number 12. again, we're just gonna try to push the car as much as we can. You can see we have over 2 laps of fuel left, and we only have about a lap and a half basically left in this race. So we definitely have to push the car as much as we can, over rev it if we can, and just put in some qualifier laps with these hards. As you can see, the fuel is now starting to drastically come down compared to where we were at earlier. So going down the hill, we're making up a little bit of time, but third place was able to just stretch it out ever so slightly off of that braking part down the hill. And now we have to just regain all that time that we lost, as it's just kind of back and forth with third place. Some places we gained some time on him, but then some places he is able to lose us now as we are on the final lap. The gap has closed down to 1.5 seconds, as it's closing down even more as we go down the straight for the final time. Gap is now to 1.5 seconds, and I know going up the hill he's a little bit stronger than us, but going down the hill we've been pretty okay with, and if we can nail it right, we can easily chip off like about half a second. So we're gonna see what we can do here as we head into turn number 3 and 4. And you can see that it's still about 1.5, 1.6 seconds as we get wheel spin just for pushing too hard, and that kills us right here going up the hill as we lose about 3 or 4 tenths of a second. So still not over. We still have half a lap left. Anything could happen going down this hill, especially because third and second are really starting to get closer to each other, and if they start fighting here, maybe they can push one or the other into a mistake. So as we come down the hill here, we are starting to make up a little bit of time as we're able to bring down the gap from 2 seconds to 1.9. And you can see now off of that final corner we were able to bring it down to 1.6 seconds, but just unfortunate that it is the final lap and it is the final time down the straight into the chicane. So unless these guys up ahead make one of the biggest driving errors ever, it doesn't look like we're going to be able to get that podium position, as first and second are actually fighting with each other pretty hard here. So coming down off of the final chicane, we have half a lap left, which should be plenty of fuel to make it to the end, as first and second are still nose to tail. Coming into the final corner, things get a little bit heated up ahead as one of them goes into the grass. You can see Dust getting kicked off. We go into the inside just to take evasive action, and we come home with a 4th place, 3 seconds right behind first place. So very, very close. If we probably had an extra lap here and an extra lap of fuel, who knows what would have happened with the top 4 here, as I thought it was going to get a little bit more closer if we could have gotten an extra lap. So really fun race. I was not expecting this race to be as well as it was. I know a lot of people really did not like this race just because of the penalty system. I heard a lot of stories of people that were getting resetted and actually losing like over 20 or 30,000 DR. So I just feel so much sympathy for them, because it must suck, you know, grinding as much as they did to try to get up to a really good driver rating, only to lose it because of one race. So like I said, I just feel very sorry for them, and luckily for us, we were able to get out of here unscathed and come home with some pretty good points, 230 points. But again, we were lucky that we didn't get any penalties here, as that could easily, like off of the first corner, got in at least 3 or 4 seconds of penalty. So let me know how you guys did around here. Leave it in the comments down below. If you guys really enjoyed this video, which I'm guessing you guys did since you made it all the way to the end, please feel free to leave a like and subscribe on the video, as it really helps out the channel when you guys do so. And if you guys want to follow me on the Twitches or on Instagram, you can find all those links in the description down below, as well as our Discord, so feel free to join that also. And again, if you guys really enjoy the content, enjoy this video, I hope to see you guys on the next one. Peace out.